pretty. Waiting for the other camera to get on it. Over there, on top of my jewelry. Hola, everybody. We are still reading How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. We're actually going over 2 stories today because they're both so short. They're about 13 pages. So we decided to do...
basically 30.
Right. Yeah, basically 30 pages. And we could definitely do that in a week. That's not an issue. So, going over the first story. The first story was called The Cloud Dragon Skies. And Zeke, go ahead and give me the summary for The Cloud Dragon Skies.
Okay, they basically say, well...
Just give me a summary.
Alright. It's basically a tribe that sees clouds as gods in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And they interpret diseases and also natural disasters as them doing something wrong. Or God's doing something wrong to them.
That's a good 2-sentence summary. That's what I'm talking about. But The Cloud Dragon Skies. So this is a futuristic story. I really it's applicable. It's applicable. So like there's it's like after Earth, if you will. Like, you know, whatever has happened on Earth has happened on Earth. So, you know, you have these people that are left over. They had this moment where there was like, you could either stay on Earth or you can go up to Mars. So some people chose to Mars. Some people chose to go to Mars, and while some people chose to stay on Earth. So this girl, Nahatu, I hope I'm not butchering her name. She lives on Earth with her father. And there they have like a certain kind of way of life. They appreciate the earth. They appreciate, you know, what the earth has given them. They choose to adapt to the earth instead of manipulating the earth to adapt to them and what they want and what they need, which is something that I definitely was like, whoa, that's definitely like a practice or like a mindset that we definitely need to start adopting instead of feeling like, you know, we're helpless and all these things are just happening to us, knowing daggone well 5 of your cousins work at that company that's manipulating the earth. Anyway, neither here nor there. So they do the opposite of that. They adapt to the earth and things that are going on there. Please stop, Miles. Please stop. So they're doing that. And eventually a group of scientists from Mars come down and they ask the father, hey, you know, can we stay here for a little bit? We want to study the sky here. Well, the sky is red. The sky is now red from whatever compounds have combined together. It makes the oxygen different, and now the sky is red. And the clouds are like swirls instead of the bunch of clouds that we see now. They're swirls. So the girl...
I love to see a drawing of that.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. So the girl, she kind of interprets like the cloud shape and how the clouds move as well as the sky color as dragons. To her, those are dragons. The same way we say we have a sun god and a moon god and this god and that god. To her, there's just dragons in the sky. And when you do something that you're not supposed to be doing, the dragons react and create a storm. Or if you do right, the dragons dissipate and the sun is out. It's so like to them, that's how, you know, they interact with the earth. That's how they interact with the sun and so on and so forth. So these scientists come down and say, can we look at the sky? Can we test some things? Whatever. The girl gets close to one of the scientists. There are black people on Mars. This one scientist just happens to be a black man. So they get to know each other. They get closer. And then the scientists come up with a way to manipulate the earth. This goes against what the Earthlings have been doing since, you know, half of the Earthlings have moved to Mars. So, you know, the father's like, no, you can't manipulate the earth. We have rules here. You cannot manipulate the sky. We don't want what y'all want. What y'all trying to do here is why half of y'all are on Mars now. You guys are manipulating things. You still haven't learned your lesson. Don't do that. So he does it anyway. And guess what happens when he does it anyway? He creates multiple tornadoes. Multiple tornadoes come. They kill the village. The girl runs away with the boy scientist up into Mars, and she tells everybody on Mars about her life on Earth, which no longer exists because they just had to come back and manipulate the Earth again. I mean, God forbid we just live on Mars and mind our business. Like, we just have to come back to Earth and just keep touching shit. I don't understand. But anyway, that part made me like irritated. Like, bro, you live on Mars. Stay the fuck up there. Like, why even come down here and keep touching stuff? Like, leave us alone. We found a way to live. We're living naturally. We're minding our business. We don't come to Mars asking y'all for help or whatever. We chilling. But y'all really just had to come down and create a bunch of tornadoes and destroy everything and everybody. So everybody's virtually dead.
It only took one little boy. It was basically a ticking time bomb. That whole planet.
I mean, but it wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have touched stuff. Like,
I mean,
he shot a flare into the air. Only God knows what was inside of the flare. And then it went into the space. And then it interacted.
And what if they said it was just a normal flare then? The whole planet is a ticking time bomb. It's just a flare.
It wasn't just a flare. It was whatever it was that they were trying to do or create to make the sky blue again.
Did they state something was in it though?
No. They just were trying to make the sky blue. I don't know.
Why use a flare gun then? Like, what are they doing? Oh my God.
Because that was their way of shooting it in the air, I guess. That was like their best way of shooting it in the air. But that is the summary of the Cloud Dragon Skies. And what did you take from the story?
I took not to mess with things that are way beyond your control.
Yeah, that kind of like cemented that mindset for me. Stop touching things that you cannot control. Stop trying to manipulate the earth and manipulate things on earth. We need to learn to adapt to the earth instead of trying to manipulate the earth to adapt to our greed and the things that we want to see into fruition. I think that's unnecessary and very selfish because we aren't the only beings on this planet. There's an infinite amount of beings on this planet. For us to only be worried about humans is ridiculous. Anyway, so that is the Cloud Dragon Skies in a nutshell. That's what we got from it. So, and that story was only like 12 pages. So the next story is the Trojan Girl. Go ahead, answer it. This is the part where you say hello.
Yeah?
Intermission. What?
My sister told him to go downstairs.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll hold on for a minute because there's not a whole nother person on the other side of the house.
I'll just take a seat.
You just take
I
a
could
seat.
not hear a single thing except a traffic light. All I heard was a traffic light.
Alright, well, let's just finish this.
Yeah, let's finish this and get the bags.
Watch out, Miles, please.
She's probably done that.
So, the next story that we read was The Trojan Girl. The Trojan Girl is pretty cool. This is also like a futuristic story that I also appreciated. This more so just deals with cyberspace. It deals with cyberspace. It deals with the algorithms of cyberspace and kind of personifies the algorithms in cyberspace. So we're dealing with a time now where people are walking around with microchips in their bodies, and the algorithms that they've created have personified. These algorithms that are in cyberspace are their own personalities, their own, entities. And there's this one specific tribe that decided to personify themselves into wolves. And when you think of wolves, you think of viruses. So they go around and they kind of connect to people's chips in their bodies, and they eat. They're like data eaters, if you will. So they go into your chip in your body and they eat all your data, thus leaving you brain dead. So that's the basic interaction of AI to human, is leaving the humans brain dead and eating their data, and they live amongst each other, and you have these rivals and they have their own way of life, and it's cool because They can create their own, like, they can turn into whatever they want to turn into. They can infiltrate whatever human they want to infiltrate, as long as that human has a cell phone that's on around them, or around some level of technology or internet. As long as they're by a tower, or they have a microchip in their body, these algorithms can enter the body and eat the data. And so you have this girl. Go ahead. I'll let you take the floor. Let's describe the girl for me, Zeke Zeke.
All right.
Oh, at first and foremost, read to me the laws of the algorithms, and then talk to me about the girl.
All right. Thou shalt not self-repair.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not surpass the peak of human intellect, and thou shalt not write or replicate.
Mm-hmm. So those are the laws that the algorithms have that they have to abide by.
At least they can read.
Right. I hope they can read. Go ahead.
I hope.
Now give me tell me what happened with the girl.
All right then. The girl has some special powers of hers. Just my mom was discussing how she can barely even control her powers too, and because of that, Monroe thinks that she's weak. Monroe is basically a one of the tribe's wolves, if you will. I don't really want to call them algorithms. I'll just call them wolves.
Okay.
It's okay, I give it to
Go ahead, baby.
And the whole point of this whole entire tribe, they usually stalk lesser beings, and as they do so, they usually come across some that are...
Oh, Lord.
What?
Go ahead. Keep talking.
They usually come across some that don't even flail or try to fight back if they're captured. And Monroe finds them sophisticated.
Excuse me. Ooh. So yeah, that's what happened. Sorry, I crashed into the chair.
I don't know why.
So yeah, the girl is an algorithm of herself. She's a new algorithm, so she's in the form of a child, and she has these abilities that no other algorithm has ever experienced. She has subconscious. She can think.
Dream.
She can dream. She has feelings. She has emotions. So while she's connecting, because she is a child and her powers are kind of out of control, she's just like randomly uploading and downloading it into people's brains and leaving them brain dead. But because she has a consciousness, she feels bad about it and she's crying and she's upset. Monroe is one of the algorithms that has personified himself into a wolf. And for some reason, he feels really drawn to this girl. And he feels really compelled to help her and to save her and to keep her safe.
And then later on, it's the opposite.
Right. There's a rivalry of algorithms that live in a different cyberspace that actually have teamed up with this wolf algorithm. And they both want to go for the girl for their own reasons. Well, Lens is the opposing person to the wolf, Monroe. So Lens is like, I'm not going to eat her. I don't want to eat her data. I don't want to eat this algorithm or whatever. I just want to gently take from her and then keep her safe. And Monroe's kind of upset because he wanted to be the one to keep her safe. But in the end, Lens ends up giving Monroe the consciousness that the girl had. He was able to upload that data into Monroe, so Monroe could now dream. And because he could dream, he could feel, and he could think, and he had guilt. He started crying for all the humans that he killed and left brain dead before. In one scene they talk about what the algorithms do when they lay down at night. Whereas we cuddle, some engage in more intimate cuddling. These algorithms just wrap themselves into each other to the point where they're just one. They're one long ass algorithm. And that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool way to put that. And so, yeah. And I love this because the last sentence of the story talks about the ghost in the machine. And if any of you guys are into philosophy, Gilbert Riles wrote an article called The Ghost in the Machine in response to Descartes' idea of the mind and body, whether they're interconnected, two separate entities working together, or they're just one whole thing. Well, Gilbert Riles said that, there are two separate entities that work together. So this story was a really good mirror to that mind and body dualism, because you have these algorithms that are just out here eating data, killing people, eating data and, shutting down computers. Only God knows how their survival is affecting human beings and human nature and how humans adapt, how humans are interacting with each other to survive, how humans are interacting with their tech to survive. They didn't really talk too much about how humans were affected other than the fact that they died. So like, you know, that consciousness is gone. That consciousness that separates the artificial intelligence from the humans is definitely there, because they're doing all these things that affect human life and they don't feel anything about it. They don't even feel anything about doing things to one another. It's just natural. It's just she touched me and I touched her. We don't know why. There's no why to this, why this is happening. We just feel a craving to do it. So they feel the body cravings, but there's nothing clicking in their mind to tell them why this craving is happening or why this action is satisfying this craving. So once that subconsciousness comes in, now the whys are starting to come in, you know. And so that was Gilbert Ryle's position, was that, you know, they're two separate things, but they do work hand in hand, and they both are very necessary to create a balanced dualism. And so that's what I got from this story. The importance of the subconsciousness and how animalistic we are, or we can be, without consciousness. We are so animalistic that we would be willing to kill a child in order to take what a child has. That's what I got from the story. I also want to add some emphasis on the title. The title is called The Trojan Girl. And in the story, they're trying to figure out, in the story, they're trying to figure out who created this algorithm of a young girl. Why? Did the government do it? Did some hacker do it? What purpose did this algorithm have? And to me, I feel like because it's called the Trojan Girl, this algorithm was created to infiltrate these other algorithms. Because look at what happened when the subconsciousness was put into Monroe. He suddenly was able to interact differently and do things different. So maybe this Trojan Girl was created as a antidote to this virus of wolves, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe this was like the cybersecurity in the form of a young girl. Does that make sense?
Yes, but it still seems wrong though.
It does seem wrong. I'm not denying that at all.
I mean, they could have done it way better.
They could have. So what did you take from the story, Zeke?
I just got a white supremacy vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really learn anything from this one.
You didn't really learn? Well, tell me what... Hold on a second, Miles. Let Zeke talk for a second, and then you get your turn, okay? So, how did you make, like, white supremacy synonymous with these algorithms in cyberspace?
It was just the rules.
The rules?
The rules and the things that they had to do to survive.
Mm-hmm. It's synonymous to what we have to do and what we have had to do to survive.
I mean, yeah. One, you couldn't even write a book. You couldn't even publish a book in the first place. And then two, I guess you did explain to me how self-repairing to us was just us freeing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, we couldn't try to be smarter than whites. That was just a normal thing.
Mm-hmm. And I really like that you were able to make those two parallels. That's cool. And it's valid. It's very valid. And it's very also valid to how we're living now. Not being able to congregate with one another. We're being censored online now. It's a lot of things that we can't say. On the internet, on social media, if you start to have certain dialogue, you will get pop-ups. Your posts will be removed and stuff. So we're starting to become censored. We're not allowed to talk. It's been a thing for a little bit. I shield you from the internet. I do it for a reason. So like, it's, we're kind of coming back to that, the social distancing. I have a fear that the social distancing is going to enhance the apathy we already feel towards one another. Like when someone is getting beat up, our response is to grab a phone and just watch, not to help. We already have this Superman complex that somebody in the crowd is going to come save this person. So I kind of feel like the 6 feet distancing, the social distancing, this idea that we're wearing masks and we're no longer being polite to one another. We're no longer excusing ourselves when we're around one another. We don't feel the need to greet one another a certain kind of way. Like it's really, we're really creating like a gap to one another. And I fear for that because those gaps are being filled with technology, from the towers below to the satellites being put above. You know, they're filling our gaps. So that could make this story, the Trojan Girl, a possibility for the future. We could be dealing with things like this, whereas before we would be dealing with natural viruses coming to invade our body. With chips, we could be dealing with cyber viruses coming to attack our body. And these viruses are living their own lives. Just like these microorganism viruses. They live their own lives. They got families, they reproduce, they do shit. Like, you don't know the mind, like, the life of a virus. Like, we don't know that. We don't communicate with viruses. Like, you don't know what it is that they're doing. And it could be the same thing with the computer algorithms and us having computer chips and dealing with viruses in that sense as well. So it's very foreseeable, quite alarming, and I love the talk of the mind and body dualism. That's one of my favorite philosophical debates, because I personally believe that the mind and body are two separate entities, because without the mind, you just have an animal spirit, just the way these algorithms have. But if you just have a mind and no body, you're kind of lacking in that protection and that weakness that these algorithms saw in the girl. She didn't know how to protect herself. She didn't know how to channel her energy. She didn't know how to utilize her energy. She couldn't decipher when and when not to do certain things because she was only in her mind, only in her subconscious, but she was not utilizing that physical body. That that dualism was still off-putting, off-balanced. So, yep. That's what we got from these stories. This was a nice, short, sweet video. But these are nice, short, sweet stories, right? Yeah, I like them. Did you like these stories?
I like the clouds more.
You like the cloud one more? Why?
I don't know.
No.
It was just more puzzling to me. I actually thought about why they would even use a flare when they can use so many different things.
I can see that. I like the Trojan Girl one better. I really like both of them because both of them are possibilities of the future, right?
Mom.
But I really like the Trojan one better. What's up?
Why a fly?
I don't know.
I just picked the cloud one because there were so many stupid things that I actually thought of other ways to do something else.
So, if you had a choice, like say something catastrophic happens right now and they're like, all right, y'all know we've been studying Mars for like 20 years now, 20, 30 years now. We've been going up there for like since the 1940s. So now we got civilizations up there. We got houses up there. Y'all trying to go because we about to keep fucking shit up down here. Would you go up there in Mars or would you stay down here?
Oh my god. Let's see. That all depends.
It all depends?
Yeah.
Stop.
And I'm going to tell you why. How long does it take to get here to Mars?
It depends on what kind of spacecraft you're on.
Yeah, but usually, how long does that take?
I have no idea. It takes some years, though.
Ah, yes, years.
They might create an apparatus that can move through years, just like we can move through miles and hours.
Or we could use cryogenic stasis, but oh wait, we have not discovered that yet. All we have is just theories that Disneyland did that to a Disneyland owner. That's incredible. Oh, and what else? Let me see something else. There's also the many faults that could happen if I'm in space. Also the way that if I want to get resources, I probably have to wait another more years before I can get those resources. Because last time I checked, I don't think you can chrono. I can't speak.
So I guess it's safe to say that you would stay on Earth?
I mean, yeah. I'd rather stay here and try to fix the problems than go over there and there's no way to fix it.
Right. It's just whatever they create.
Like, if there's a pipe leak, I bet I could fix that with the wrench, no problem, or duct tape, but guess what? We lose air up there. We can't get that for another few years if we don't got any spacecraft or anything. True. And I don't think you can cryogenic air or any type of resource ever. Have you ever heard of that?
I think if they gave us a choice between Mars and Earth, I'll probably stay on Earth too. That's what I know. If y'all blow me up, y'all blow me up. It is what it is. Y'all gonna blow me up if I went to Mars anyway. So, cause I talk too much. So yeah, that's what I would choose. Okay, so here go my question for the Trojan Girl.
Yeah.
We already talked about mind and body. So, if you, knowing what you know about natural viruses and knowing what you know about cyber viruses now, would you opt to have a chip in your body if it meant that you would be immune from physical viruses? Or would you take your losses and stick with physical viruses and not have to deal with the cyber viruses of having a chip?
Physical viruses. Yay.
You would rather deal with the physical viruses?
I mean, we can actually deal with them. That's the point. The point is we can actually deal with them. And we learned how to do that for a while now. It's happening every freaking generation or century or so.
Right.
And am I going to be honest with you? Did they even mention that about anything except humans, about them just straight up dying every single time they get in contact with them? Not even, like, physical contact. Eye contact. Like, come on now. They can just think about it and they'll just go into your head and probably eat your brains out. Come on. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that either. I'd rather deal with physical viruses.
Just imagine that. They could use you for a bank of food, too. Because what they could do is they could put you in a school and make you learn and then they can eat you again. I thought of that, too, when I read the book.
Oh, like brain farming.
Yeah, brain farming.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so
that would be a cool book.
I don't want that.
You should make that an anime series, brain farming, and then the humans come together and strike back, but they still have like some downfalls because they still hooked up to chips and shit. That would be pretty cool.
Mom?
It's gonna be the Matrix.
New storyline.
Mom.
Okay, cool.
Mom?
Yes.
Guess what? If somebody kills me, I'm getting my payback when I'm a ghost. I'm getting my payback.
Oh, so you haunting people?
Yes.
I believe you. You act like somebody that would haunt everybody that ever did anything to you.
Yeah, because I'm a little kid. I'm a naughty kid.
You didn't pay me my $5.
What you need $5 for?
You didn't pay me my $5 that said miles.
Oh. I owe you $5 now. I gave him life. He talking about $5. So.
$5.
We will be back again next Monday. These were nice, fun reads. It was a nice way to play with our brains and scare ourselves into what the future could hold. I really appreciate that. So we will be doing story. What's the next story? Valedictorian. And we're going to do the next two stories. Let's start flying through this a little bit.
So the valedictorian and the storyteller's replacement.
Okay. So with the story title Valedictorian, what do you predict will happen in this next story?
I forgot what that
Please
means.
stop.
I forgot what valedictorian means.
Valedictorian
But
is...
it sounds like you need honor for that title, or you get honor for that.
Yeah, when you graduate, you basically graduated with the highest grades in your whole class.
Ah, you did that.
I did.
So that's what you called. You're valedictorian, okay.
Well, I wasn't valedictorian. It was like a tie. I was in like the 10%. But, you know.
Wait, then who did...
I had a 3.8 GPA. You know, I want to my own horror, but 2-2, yeah, 2-2. But, yeah, so... The valedictorian, yeah, I get a vibe that maybe this is dealing with some people in high school, somebody trying to graduate high school, and they're determined to be valedictorian. There might be like a futuristic twist to that, maybe like the way that they're learning or what it is that they're graduating from might be something crazy. Hold on a second, Miles. The next story is the storyteller's replacement. What do you think about that one? What do you think about that one, Miles? What do you think the storyteller's replacement is about?
I think it's about a kid, and he just sneaks up on somebody, and that kid just turns around, and he just didn't know that he was there, so he had to go to the detention.
You think so?
Yeah, and he had to get replaced by another student.
Another student? I like that story. That story sounds good. We're going to find out if that's what happens. What do you think is going to happen in a storyteller's replacement, Zeke?
This actually does sound like brain farming.
This does sound like brain farming. Well, I think. Well, I watched Once Upon a Time, and in Once Upon a Time, it was about
Did that show end?
Yeah, it ended. It was great.
When?
I'm actually watching it again because
When did it end? Because I used to watch it with you all the time.
they had one last season, and I didn't finish it. That's why I'm watching it again from the beginning, which is taking me a really long time because I don't make a lot of time for TV. So it might take me a whole year to finish it, but it is what it is.
And I don't have Netflix.
You can watch it with me sometimes whenever you want to come out your cave. So yeah, I think the storyteller's replacement. So in Once Upon a Time, there's like a story keeper that's writing down all the fairy tale stories, and that's his job. And whatever he writes either comes into fruition or has already came into fruition. So I think the storyteller's replacement is more so about like a new storyteller coming in, like an apprentice, if you will, and maybe like Death Note or something, and like whatever they write is coming into fruition. But maybe they're like a dark person, like Death Note, and they writing some crazy stuff, but because that seems to be the twists and the turns that these stories usually take is usually for like it's like a nice like Twilight Zone kind of story, but
rewrite history into a dark side.
What if he go back in time, he rewrite history, and we never taught Europeans how to wash their ass or get on boats? I'm here for that story. Let's do it, y'all. Let's do it.
Wait,
hopefully that's what the story about. If it's not, I'm gonna write one.
No, wait, what? What about Europeans?
We never went to Europe, and we never taught them how to wash their butt, and we never taught them how to get on boats and travel. Because black people were traveling all over the world. That's why nobody liked us. In case y'all was wondering, nobody liked us because we was all over the world buying stuff up, taking over stuff, and we was fly doing it in gold. Feel me? That's why, in case y'all was wondering, like, why don't nobody like black people? Because we forgot our history. But our history was we was everywhere. We know we was everywhere. Y'all know we was everywhere because y'all brag about it. But what y'all don't brag about is bullshit we was doing when we was everywhere, doing everything and everybody's business.
I mean, now
we thought we was out there helping people like, oh, y'all don't know how to wash your ass? Let me show you, Karen. I got you. But maybe Karen didn't want to learn how to wash her ass. Maybe Karen didn't want Billy to get on the boat and go to Americas. Maybe they never wanted to go to India, and maybe we was just doing too much, making them feel bad. Y'all know we be telling jokes, and we tell entirely too many jokes. Like, oh, what are those? Them shoes is whack as fuck. You need to go to India, my nigga. Like, y'all play. We know we play too much. We was everywhere playing too much, and that's why don't nobody like us now, because we still out here playing too much.
Mommy,
it's like, nah, I play too much.
Mom,
Huh?
I never make a joke.
You never make a joke?
You do be making jokes.
I find that hard to believe.
That's hard to
But
believe.
that's it. We just having fun because we're just reading it. We're lighting it up. We have read like some really serious books up until this book. We have The Science and Myth of Melanin up on our YouTube page. We have Metu Netter up on our YouTube page. So we're really lightening it up with this book, reading a science fiction book. And it's cool, you know, we make jokes, we make up our own realities. You know, you guys can take us seriously if you want to, but we're just playing up here until we're not. And that's it. So, Zeke, tell them what you got going on so we can close out.
Well, I've actually finally learned how to draw on the pad.
Hey.
And it took me a while because at first what I thought was that the actual pad was supposed to turn on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was one of those where you could see it on the pad as well. But really, that's just a drawing pad.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be able to figure out. I guess I have to.
You can't do it laying down in your bed. You gotta sit at a table.
No, it's not that. It's like I have to learn a muscle memory to it. Like I have to draw while looking at the screen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, you just gotta get into the. Yeah, I get you.
I gotta get into muscle memory.
Mm-hmm. You gotta get into your movements of it. I got you. And that's cool. That's when I learned how to crochet. Once you get like to a rhythm of how you move your fingers and stuff like that, yeah, you'll be good. I got a graphic artist in the making, y'all. Y'all watch out for Zeke. He doing big things. He going to engineering school, doing graphic arts. We about to teach him how to do Forex trading. We just doing big things with this 13-year-old right here, you know? We teaching him how to think critically, how to read critically. We doing all that stuff. If y'all have any book suggestions for my mans, for us, please let us know if y'all have any books y'all think we would like. We had a
If
few
this one-
people
We need
suggest some books to us, and they were cool. We have a lot of books in our queue, but we're definitely, taking some books down because a lot of the books that we have in our queue are only like 150 pages. So we're gonna smack that out in like 3 weeks if we're reading like 50 pages a week or so.
I'm bored. I want my series, but the libraries are closed, and when they open, and when they used to be, they didn't have any like book series.
I wonder what
from
they are
Virginia.
going to do to the libraries, because if they're like closing up libraries because of like the fear of like taking books from one house to another, give me the whole fucking library. I want it. I don't care if it's books I'm
Yeah,
gonna
give
read
me
or
the
not
library.
read.
I'll just get some
Give
books
me
and
the
watch all the
library.
books. I'll just watch all the
Right.
books.
Ain't
Come on.
nothing a little alcohol can't solve.
I'm making a note of something.
But that's it. As far as myself goes, stay tuned. Later on tonight, I'll have the Gemini Zodiac planetary forecast up, so you guys can know what the planets are doing during Gemini season. We have a lot of retrogrades going on. We have a lot of planets that are getting real close and snuggly with one another, and that's creating a certain electromagnetic energy you guys need to be aware of and prepared for. A lot of great things are happening. I have been getting in touch with my feelings and healing from my childhood trauma, and that's been really interesting. I don't like to talk about my feelings, but I
don't
spent
think you have
the
trauma.
day talking about my feelings like 3 times today, and it was a lot. So still working on that because I would like to be a better parent. Hold on, child.
You are a good parent, and you have no trauma.
I want to be better, and you're
You are
absolutely
good.
right. Thank you.
Oh, what were you trying to make a
Thank
wand?
you.
No, this
I'm gonna try
was
not to cry right
actually
now.
what I wanted.
What else do I got going on? I got the Gemini reading. If you guys are into Forex or you have been thinking about Forex, I'm doing Forex Q&As. Please put my wand down. That is not for y'all. That's not even a child wand. That's for smoking. Y'all doing too much.
Wait, what?
Yes. Anyway,
How?
So,
when, where, and why?
I'm doing Forex Q&As on Friday at 6 o'clock. If you're interested or if you know anybody who is, please let them know. Don't hide this light. You may not care. You may not want to do it. But you don't know who in your circle is secretly struggling, who wants to work from home, who has been thinking about Forex. So please don't keep this light to yourself. I'm doing this on Fridays at 6 p.m. I'm doing a Forex Q&A. I'm informing people about what Forex is about, what the I Am Academy education platform is about, especially for you guys who are being misinformed about this education platform. I definitely want to clarify some things for y'all. I've been doing it for about 3 weeks now, and the outcome has been amazing. I walked out on my job and I was really embarrassed and a little scared because I didn't know what to do, but the universe always makes things fall into place the right way. So now I can homeschool my kids more hands-on. I can keep doing these book readings. I can keep doing the Gemini readings. I can keep doing Forex trading and studying it up, and I can start sharing my lights with y'all a little bit more. And I love that, and I appreciate that, and I thank the universe for that. And it is not going to be in vain. So please don't keep this light to yourself, because I for definitely am not. And that's pretty much it. That's all we got going on. So we're going to see y'all next Monday. We're going to go over the next 2 stories in this book. You can catch it on barnesandnobles.com. That's where I bought this book from, Barnes & Noble. You can also catch it on Amazon and things like that. That's what we're reading right now. And that's it, y'all. I see y'all later. This was